inside counterpick potential.
Or they might draft themselves a little more
tankier team.
Ways to actually interrupt it.
I mean, they had interruptions, they just died too fast.
Yeah, look at that. The actual change is the Hecarim ban. Subbed out for the Morgana ban, so no Morgana ban targeted towards body drop. He'll get his pick champion, but he might even just go with Annie again if they're looking for the team fights. And
Yep, they left the Sejuani open to ban away Aurelia, but that means they trade back Nidalee. So they say, you know what, we're fine with this one. Morgana still for body drop, but now we get Inox's Nidalee in this game.
These picks are coming out so quickly. They are so fast. These teams know what they want, and you can see how happy they are with these picks that they're getting. Body drop gets his Morgana. Inox gets his Nidalee.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on a team called Napkins in Disguise, NID, only because he wanted the team acronym to be NID.
Yep.
So he was like, NID, what's it stand for? I don't know, Napkins in Disguise.
Whatever, I don't care, I just want the name in there. Yeah, but TDK though, I mean, they just got to take the entire comp that NME eSports had last time. Hey look, it's a team with Sivir Annie. Look guys, we get some hard engage. Yay, isn't life grand? And you got to feel that's going to be pretty nice for these guys overall. Of course, the Sejuani for Seraph also going to be a pretty happy thing.
This is actually a situation where it becomes more outplay again. The hard engage against a Nidalee fares extremely well. It's what shuts her down. Every time somebody drafts a Nidalee, it's like, did the other team draft hard engage? Okay, they have ways to shut her down. Morgana can keep her safe. Whatever else NME eSports drafts with them. Now in the 3-4 slots for them, do you draft a tank wall to keep them safe? Do you draft hard engage to counter? Do you draft peel?
No. You draft mid-game. You draft early mid-game pressure and hope it snowballs in from there. You can see the Tristana picked up here for the turret pushing power. I believe the second half of Explosive Shot can be spell shielded, so the direct matchup of Triss for Sivir is actually pretty weak. But turret pushing power gonna be there. She'll be safe with Black Shield, so even the threat of engaging is not even gonna exist. And the siege power of a Nidalee as well is quite strong, and hopefully they can have Maokai hold up in the top lane. That's counterpicked by a Gnar from Seraph here. And they think Seraph can beat up Flares on this matchup, and once again, Kyle does get Lissandra. So if you want a hard engage, find a team better than this at it.
Right now, TDK have all the teamfight tools they need. Seraph's going to be grouping up a little bit more than he would actually be split pushing previously. Does have a good matchup against Maokai as Gnar. Both top laners have good gank assistance. So the last thing that's actually being drafted here, that could still be a jungle Nidalee for Trashy. It's most likely for Inox, but right now they get to see the Lissandra and they get to think about this. Do they really want that Nidalee to go against the Lissandra mid? That's
true. Definitely a question worth answering. And as they look up what that is going to be, I actually like the brand of tank picked by Seraph, by the way. Oftentimes you see Sion as the big top lane tank to help your team fight. But Gnar is something that has real kill pressure in the one-on-one, that can bully people out of lane and really get some turret pressure down. And it looks like he will be facing Maokai in the top lane because NME eSports are picking a jungler for the last champion here. And Body Drop will lock in a Zac again for Trashy. So siege power is here. The team fight's not that great, though. TDK certainly better at 5-on-5s. I'm honestly not sure what Zac is going to do. I mean, he has knockbacks, right? He can play defensively as a tank.
Yeah, the knockback range has been increased.
Yeah, true.
Since we last really saw prevalent Zacs in Season 3. This is actually a lot of disengage, not a whole lot, though. It's a couple of knockbacks from NME eSports against a lot of engage that doesn't have to put their body at risk. It's Annie. It's Sejuani, right? They jump in. You can peel the Gnar pretty easily, but this is actually going to be very interesting to watch this play out because the damage outputs of both teams, they have 2 tanks, and then they have a Nidalee and a Tristana on NME eSports. That's not a whole lot of teamfight consistent damage. You have to land those javelins and get the follow-up burst.
Yeah, it's very bursty and it's very turret damage centric, so we have to see then if NME eSports can play that long-ranged turret-focused team comp well, or if the teamfight power of TDK is just simply too high.
Yeah,
it's difficult to play. We talked about how Jat said, you know, your narrow bands of victory. And narrow is not a good way to go into a game, but you know, if you can execute, then I guess life is okay.
Yeah, and also on the flip side, you know, they have the Nidalee and they have the Tristana. Not a whole lot of damage there unless you're landing the javelins. But then you look at the opposite side, TDK, Kyle, Lissandra, Sivir for Louis GG.
Yep.
So some consistent damage there with the Lissandra, some upfront burst, but pretty low damage AD carries across the board.
Yeah, well, we're going to see what happens. Make sure to keep those tweets sending our way. Hashtag TDK win or hashtag NME win to @LOL eSports. We will check the vote in just a few minutes. Game 2 of this best of 5. The winner is going to be joining the North American LCS, guys. Keep it up for your favorite teams as we get ourselves into the match.
And I want to keep an eye on Inox on this Nidalee, this signature pick for him in the mid lane. He's been a really driving force for NME, and you saw it in that last game too.
Welcome to Summoner's
And we'll have to see just how well these players can put on for their teams. TDK, they respect their opponent's entire lineup, but according to Kez, NME's key player right here, Inox, resides in the mid lane.
I'd say the key player for NME is their mid laner, Inox. He is experienced and he works really well with their jungler. What they usually do is when Inox gets a lead on the opposing mid laner, they kind of like work together, they get the vision together in the enemy jungle, and then they kind of like do the 2v1s inside the jungle.
We'll see what happens in this game right here.
And you can see how he's landing those javelins. I was talking about spear accuracy. It looks like he's got it down from the early game. He's just tested his throwing arm. He's warming up.
Oh, he seems plenty warmed up. He threw daggers just fine last game. Slightly bigger fare here with javelins, but you expect it'll work out.
Minions have spawned.
Took the cleanse as well to deal with the lockup. Annie stun, Sejuani ulti, Lissandra ulti. A lot of things that can keep him in place.
Oh, he missed one. What a loser. Shameful Inox. So, lane swap situation again here. Looks like NME eSports choosing to get away from the lane as they send their duo top lane. Again, I think the matchup's pretty weak. And, of course, Tristana. Interesting artifact about her is the early game turret damage sort of debuff that you have early on that keeps him from going down. Works against auto attacks, but not against spells. So the explosive shot from Triss is going to be really good at knocking them down.
And something that we didn't touch on is Seraph is still going with Smite in the top lane.
Oh, yeah, he is.
As a Gnar. So he's not going to have the flash Gnar ultis.
Oh. Ooh. So we denied level 2.
So he got
That's
one of
big.
the little creeps, stops the level 2 from Trashy.
Right.
He's going to keep stalking him. He's going to keep going after him in the jungle.
Well, Flair's going to keep going after Kez, though. Wolf Spirit kind of stopping that one a little bit, and looks like Kez is going to be just safe.
Yep, Smoothie. Hey, what's up, Trashy?
Oh! All right, level 2. And that's with you helping him jungle. He's like, I'm sorry, man. Here, have some damage in the Wolf.
I didn't mean it about the level 2. Oh, nope, he did mean it. He's coming back.
How much? Oh! If he timed the auto with that, he would have gotten it. If he waited for an auto attack windup, that would have been a steal. Either way, though, Smoothie with more jungle camps.
Flash W.
Flash W's going to hit it. Will they have the knockup? Yes, they do. Kyle's not going to get away without Flash. Summoner down. But it's Summoner for Summoner.
Yeah. But it's a mid lane Summoner, and Flares isn't going to have a lot of pressure on him for a little while unless they fast push the turret bottom.
Well, this is some weird choices here, though. I actually don't like where the NME eSports sort of other dual lane is going of the jungler and top lane. They built a pretty fast push here with the Triss Morgana, but no one's there to help knock the turret down. They're just like, hey, Seraph, get some XP if you want it.
Trashy's coming.
I don't know if that's enough to kill the turret, though.
It is.
And I don't think it's enough to kill Seraph. Maybe. I guess we'll see.
It is a flashless Gnar. So we'll have to see. He doesn't even have his leap just yet.
Oh, wow. He did choose to cancel. Seraph decided that he was going to get killed if they went for this one. So after all, NME eSports with a 3-man dive. We're going to take this turret down as fast as possible. TDK.
Flares actually TPs to his tier 2 turret. So he can just walk up.
He will soak up a fair bit of experience. I mean, the TP's certainly down. He's walked up here. So looks like Gnar will get denied the whole way from the top lane turret.
Okay.
He's likely to die. What?
So what happened was, as soon as Seraph started channeling his TP top, Flares channeled his TP.
That was why the ward was there.
On a minion, or ward up.
Yeah, no, a ward got put down by body drop in case he wanted a TP. Right there, that ward.
So that's why Flares canceled it.
Okay.
And Seraph.
So they could send 4 after all. That makes sense now.
Yep.
I didn't think about the adaptation. Very smart by NME eSports. They're ahead of me on this one, but TDK are ahead on Dragons yet again this game. They find the dual lane in the bot side. If he steals this, okay. Just making sure. A nice, somewhat late smite by Kez, but that's correct to not let the sapling steal. And TDK are going to get first Dragon. Now, top lane turret's already gone, and the lane is already swapping back for NME eSports. They've already got Pickaxe in their AD carry as well. That is matched by Luigi G. He knows he has to keep the item parity.
Yeah, the turret up here for NME eSports, see what they can do with it, because this is the team that when they get those advantages across the board, they like to press them. They like to invade your jungle and start getting that pressure.
And I think they will definitely find some more pressure in this game. Right now, body drop, knocking down pink wards.
They're not even going to get a turret as an answer by TDK.
No.
They don't have the lane pressure anymore to do so.
But they have pressure in this mid lane. A flashless Kyle. A Zac waiting in the wings. Body drop to join them. Smoothie doesn't see this without trinketing. He puts the ward down.
I think they may have seen him with the ward that's in this brush up here.
Oh, yeah, they might have seen that. So he warded and then lost 105 gold for it. Essentially. Otter, level 4, same as Luigi G. With body drop here, they're going to have to require that Annie shows up. Flares push into his turret against Seraph. Level 3 to level 3 here. Looks like Flares will be okay.
That's so risky of Seraph. They saw Zac on the bottom side, so he gets to press up, but it's a long lane, and he doesn't have any wards down. He's going to go place his trinket right now. He also has a green ward in his inventory that he's going to throw down around the Scuttler just to make sure that he's covered. But the way that Zac can get into these lanes, Seraph has to be very conscious of, because he's super gankable by a Maokai.
Oh, absolutely. And you can see right now, Flares is already warded up for the ganks. He's got one deep in the lane brush, one down in the river. There is no other counter gank routes available to Kez that Flares would not see. Crashy looks in for the damage on the Kyle. A bit comes in, but easy escape all the same.
That's another thing, too. Once you get that top lane smite, you're able to get the Scuttler all the time, but that's in a second.
And body drop has to flash away from this one. No summoner he'll use, but Smoothie loses a similar amount of health. Both AD carries just wailing on the supports here. Seraph about to be Mega Gnar. Flares a level up. Yeah, 2 members joining. I don't see how Seraph gets away from this one. First blood goes over to Flares. Nice javelin by NOx.
And Seraph, he's pretty much the hope of TDK. He's always carrying them in games. And when he's in situations like this, it's really hard for them to actually get out of it and get him back on top.
Yeah, he's down 10 CS. Bomby Cinder here, so it will still be that same Cinder Hook play up there. Kez looking to counter the bottom lane. Body drop is very low. Nice spell shield by Luigi G. Out goes the rocket jump, but Kez gonna find the flash as body drop. Flash Q comes in. Summoner Heal traded. Exhaust is in, but the stun lands from Annie. That's the first kill. Smoothie, will he survive Otter with Summoner Heal? The answer is yes. Otter flashing out, but here comes some more members of the team. Javelin will miss. Flares rooted up, and it's gonna be everyone else in the front line. Smoothie gonna drop down. It's a 1-for-1. Into the back line goes Seraph. He is not Mega Gnar though, and Otter might just get the kill here. Doesn't quite go for Seraph though, and it will still be the kill. Inox now chased down. More kills coming in. TDK make this a 3-for-2. Make that a 4-for-2. TDK come out far ahead.
TDK winning these early team fights, the immediate collapses with the TPs. They're also going to get a turret off of it too. 800 gold, 1,000 gold up now.
Yeah.
8 minutes in. That's a 5-on-5 in the bottom lane in 8 minutes.
Man, what a great team fight by TDK though. What wonderful play. The chunked down body drop, push back into that turret, make him run away, still get the kill, and just Otter couldn't do anything to help. Nicely done by TDK.
And the team is doing, both teams are doing really good jobs of coordinating what's up and what's down. And what astonishes me here is that TDK, Smoothie, doesn't speak the same language as the rest of the team. He has to have Kez translate for him in the moment. And you see him flash forward there to just continue the engage on the Annie. And then the immediate collapse from NME, but the positioning is actually superior once they get past that turret. And they don't have turret aggro anymore. This is actually a disadvantageous fight for NME to continue with instead of disengaging. Inox jumps in trying to clean up, but then he pays for it as well.
And you can see that overall the result is that 1,000 gold lead you mentioned. TDK equalized the turret, they got the kills, a lot of good things in a row. Even some ward sweeping now for Kez, trying to get the aggressive wards out of his own jungle. Trash was putting in here. Mid lane, they got a support. Waiting for some pressure.
Down bottom though, this item disparity, it's a BF sword to a crit cloak.
Yep.
So Luigi G now has pressure in this lane.
Yeah, he's gonna feel pretty happy on Sivir.
And it's a longer lane too, since he got that bottom turret.
Yeah.
Now I want to see what they do, because as soon as NME got a turret, they immediately swapped the Sivir into a different lane. Is Louis just going to continue farming? Because he did that last game on Vayne.
Yeah, Luigi G can't do a whole lot in this bottom lane anymore, because you can't realistically expect to pressure tier 2 here. It's not solo queue. People gotta remember that minion waves exist, and his life should be fine. With the bonus AD, he clears waves really, really fast. And I actually want to see him shove waves and show up. There's no wave clear from Nidalee, and someone still has to control the bottom lane when it does push out. I actually would want to see a little bit more mid-game pressure. The only way NME eSports, I feel like, wins this game is by having a strong early and mid game. And TDK can completely crash that by knocking another turret down. But they're going to be stuck in a 2-on-2. I actually want to see Luigi push this and just shove mid with Lysandra. Clear 2 waves, walk mid. You have a minute to do whatever you want.
Like, what's the ranged wave clear? The Nidalee isn't going to do it.
You force Auto to go back to mid, and you're like,
exactly.
I mean, at worst, you get the same lane you had already.
Yeah, it's true. And TPs are not up just yet from the top laner, so you're not going to see any of those fights break out. So not pushing that advantage, but they do get to keep dragging pressure. They don't give up the bottom lane. That's
true.
But they don't.
Well, you can do that from anyway.
They don't push anything. Yeah, they don't get the mid lane afterwards. They see Kez here. Okay. He is 7, so he has that ultimate ready.
Okay, so right now, Kyle holding the mid lane. He is permanently pushing mid first, which means he gets to always react before Inox does. The team clears a bot lane wave. They walk the dragon. There is going to be no contest for this one. Very smart choices. They even sent Seraph down because his teleport was down. They had him walk back up to the top lane now that it's been secured. They will not lose turret pressure. He will be there in time before Flares reaches it. And so far, TDK, they played for the dragon. Now they go mid. There's the play that I was expecting all along. And there's going to be, ooh, misplay by Smoothie. But again, not a lot of defensive tools available.
Flares here.
He has flash, but his team is not really nearby just yet. Kez ults.
Oh.
Well, the flash makes it only a slow, but now Flares will have to teleport away. He'll hit it, though. All right. Now, the thing is, Dragon will be still down when that teleport comes back from cooldown. Yeah, so Flares will have a TP disadvantage for lane fights, but at least not for Dragon if that ends up being the case later on in this game. Seraphs comes back up in about 40 seconds, and that could be something to be concerned about.
Will it?
Maybe, right?
The dragon was just taken.
But in terms of like a bunch of long lanes, a Gnar flank is going to be a couple of instant kills. There's always a chance. I mean, you saw that in CLG vs Team Liquid. Like, having a mismatched TP means 3 kills in a team fight sometimes.
In a team fight, yeah. I don't know so much about the dragon.
No, I'm not saying the dragon. It's going to be back up for dragon.
Yeah. So they immediately get that turret. They're trying to answer with the Demolition Squad down bottom.
I like that. NME eSports, they're behind a little bit. They need to get some of these turrets down. They trade bot for top. Seraph does not have a supporting crew just yet top lane. Or sorry, bot for mid. No support top lane just yet, but he's got that Cinder Hulk on Gnar now, so a pretty tanky beast overall. And look at that. The easy wave clear of Sivir. That's going to be just as easy offensively as well. So again, Luigi G can always create wave pressure in the span of a second and a half. One of the big strengths, I think, of Sivir is how darn easy her wave clear is to create pressure points.
She's already got that infinity edge. They have the Sejuani. They should group up. They should start pressing these objectives from TDK's side because they have these spikes for themselves. They have this very prevalent team fight.
Yeah. And if you can dictate the pace with a team fight comp, I think that's the best way to dictate the game, because you know you can force the engage. You know that you can look to create rotations where if your opponents ever make a misstep, you get to kill a champion. Body drop trying to keep ward control up. He's walked all the way around the map to get a pink ward on the top lane Tri-Brush. His Sightstone charges should still allow him to put wards elsewhere. But you're seeing a pretty dark map overall. There's a couple of pink wards up and very, very few stealth wards. Almost none of them are even red. I really don't see any wards for NME eSports. 2 pinks.
This last outer turret.
There's one.
It was being covered.
Yeah, it's not my fault. Thanks, observers. Appreciate it.
They got you. They got you.
I'm glad you're on my side.
Sejuani's trying to sneak into this brush up top. They pink ward to make sure that there's nothing there so he can actually get into this brush.
Butterjob has an instinct that they're there. Is Kez
going to make it in time?
Even though the Q missed, they're not going to show. They know there's a chance. Thing is, he can still ult from the other brush, so I mean, I don't think it's bad to be here. He sweeps to make sure that brush is empty too. Look, he gets a black shield just to farm, and there we go. Yep, he got 10 gold. He knows there's 2 there. Out he goes.
They're going to shove this wave up, just make it go forward. Another one, and then move Kez into that second brush if they want to keep going for it. But it looks like that's not what they have in mind. Ooh. They are going to see him, though. He's going to see this pink ward. Trashy looking mid.
Nice lock up by Kyle. He's going to stay alive in this one. Ult's back on a Trashy, but it's just a 1 versus 2. Just kidding. Seraph has rejoined the fight, and Trashy flash ults away. The re-engage. Inox can't do enough damage. He's inspired as well, and Seraph is going to be able to get the killing blow on this one. 5-3 TDK. Nice fight.
It's all about that that spear accuracy, the javelin accuracy. Inox, he blew both his summoner spells there, but the low damage output when you're not put in a poke situation from Nidalee is pretty big, especially when you're up against Lysandra. He just locks it down and throws a whole chain of spells at him.
Absolutely. Well done by TDK. Max CDR Lysandra pretty darn good at these sort of 2-on-2 fights. NME can at least play defense up here with the Tristana and the Morgana here, but look at that. Luigi G just keeps getting damage down. He's got a CS lead. And they're trying to push flares out of his jungle for a little bit. Top lane, though, still the target of attention. 3 versus, looks like 4 up there. Make that a 4 versus 4 if Lysandra ends up showing. But she's going to stay mid. So enemy now outnumber the enemy team over here. Was not intentional.
They're trying to get this last outer turret down from NME's side. TDK, they want that gold, but right now, NME, they don't have a huge amount of wave clear with the Nidalee up against Lysandra, getting that middle turret for them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of at a stalemate right now for the teams.
Even Trist's wave clear is bad until you get, I would say, some real crit. Because like the E is nowhere near as good as like Boomerang Blade or Ricochet. Once you get some crit, you can like crush the waves down, but that's not really happening here. Otter continually getting pressured. It's just thankful for them that TDK have low range themselves, and so pushing the turrets down can be difficult. But Annie, Sivir, and Gnar, at some point those things do get chunked down. Attempted gank, they will land a stun on a smoothie. Will they go for more? And this one, of course, there's no ult from Trashy. Stun gets used, Morgana joins the fray, but the flash out, and now in comes Seraph. Indeed, there's the Q, and Luigi G forces the team away, and Body Drop will die despite the exhaust. Inox comes in, but Seraph is tanky. Kyle, to buy some time for himself, will self-ult to get away from explosive charge, but the counter gauge still going to land. Auto rejoins Kez, a 3-man stun. That's going to be the turnaround, but is it really? As more kills keep coming through, Inox heals himself, but Seraph still claims the kill. And now Otter on the run, slowed down by Permafrost. Seraph, Bounty Mega Gnar throws in the house. Nice dodge by Otter. Throws another one? Not even. 2 for 2 overall. What a close game.
Actually, Body Drop went down there.
Okay, 3 for 2 then.
Right? Yeah, he died at the start. It's just so early on still. He's able to respawn by the time the fight is over. That's a 3rd dragon.
Yeah, that respawn too. This is now a pretty good lead for TDK. They're only up 2,000 gold, but they're up 3 dragons. That's a very big deal. And the fact that NME eSports cannot team fight is scary.
Inox doesn't land a whole lot of javelins here. You can see that when he does, like, everybody's saving their flash for it. Kyle saved his previously. He missed 2 right there. And the 3rd one misses again. He's not hitting these spears in these fights, and they'd be very different if he did. Right here, he doesn't even hit Seraph with that one. Inox doesn't land a spear in this fight. Gets locked up, hits that one onto Seraph. That's one near point blank, and then he gets taken out afterwards. So the spear accuracy is so important when you're playing this Nidalee, and he's just not on point right now.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised enemy fought that team fight at all. I realized they got the initial catch on a smoothie, but that guy has flash. Without a Zac ult, that guy's not going to die anyway, and you can see right there that's exactly what happened. They need to wait for that Luden Zeko to come through finally on Nidalee for this poke to matter. Once that comes online, Inox can start really chunking people out in team fights. But I think that was greedy for NME eSports to pick that fight. And just like last game, the first team fight went to TDK.
They're going to try to get some turret damage here. It's going to be very, very little there. Kyle has that CDR, able to clear these minion waves very quickly with his Q.
He's also going Luton, by the way, so his wave clear gets even better.
And the lack of wave clear on NME is becoming more prevalent. Once Otter, if he goes for the static shift, he'll have a decent amount. But before that, they're really struggling to clear waves out. They're just kind of pokey, kind of engagey, kind of pick-oriented. Whereas TDK is just flat-out team fight. And they're finally going to get this top turret off of rotate there.
Well, there we go. 3K gold lead right now for TDK. They finally knocking down all 3 turrets despite not being the team built around sieging. And a very nice play.
And they're going to try to go for that mid turret. They're pressuring mid and bottom, but here comes the side engage.
Good flank. But the ulti is on. Cleanse gets away from one, flashes away from the other, but Inox still chased around. Stun will not land from Seraph, and out goes NME eSports. TDK still the team dictating the terms of this engage. Otter will split push bottom lane, but he's only going to get so much pressure here.
He's been trying to split push this entire time. They've been trying to buy time for him.
He needs to recall. The team needs him, and he knows he's getting hit right now by Seraph. He will not reach. That Q can't land in time. Nice try. but off by about a second.
Good calculation there, Phreak.
Yep. Don't worry. I do that like 90% of games. I'm very good at getting away from top laners with recall.
You're like, he can't get me. There's no way. Oh, he got me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not always right. I said I'm very good, not great. I'm like a 7 out of 10. Apparently Otter's a 10 out of 10, though. And right now, NME eSports need a 10 out of 10 from more of their players here because sitting down 3,500 gold is not what these guys wanted to be. Their team fight, or just their comp in general, has much less comeback potential than their comp from last game, where they could set up the picks, they could kill 4 people, and then take over turrets. Enemy have to play a very long, methodical game full of respecting their opponent's team fight and eking out small advantages over time. The road back for Enemy is going to be very slow.
Yeah, because they're not very bursty. It's all about kind of kiting backwards. Maybe they'll get an engage that works in their favor. Maybe they'll land a Morgana binding and then the spear afterwards. But when you have 2 tanks on TDK's lineup, you can just jump in front of these spears and soak them late game. That's what I was just talking about.
That kind of stuff exists! But guess what? A lot of comeback damage here. Smoothie's ult comes in, but no stun available for Annie. EasyNux survives, heals himself, and loses no summoners for it.
Just gets 2 ultimates in return for nothing. Just some HP loss, but he's going to heal it right back up, and they're going to get some damage on this turret. They poke Lissandra out, and that's going to be enough for them to actually get some meaningful damage on it. There's the engage.
Flash engage by Smoothie. Kez only gets Trashy, though, not the ideal target. Body drop with the ulti will catch Kyle, and there's the first kill of the fight. In comes Gnar, in comes Flares, knocks the team back, and this Maokai's taking a whole ton of damage, and Seraph jumping away very low himself. Buster Shot does not claim the killing blow, and Red Buff will not either. It's a 1-for-0 with control of the mid lane, and this will be mid lane turret going to NME eSports.
They're finally going to get this last outer turret. They'll be able to get a second one off of this too, because there's no potential engage, no Sejuani ultimate, no Lissandra to get in there, and they know Sivir doesn't have hers either.
No, tier 2 is going to be hard to kill.
Oh, they just don't have the minion wave for it.
They don't have the health bar either. These guys are low. Flash engaged by Kez. Seraph in with the teleport, and Trashy will get split up into pieces. Otter trying to cut away, but Seraph does a whole lot of damage and knocks him down on the comeback of 2-for-0.
Immediate reaction there. Seraph with the carry, then jump in. And that even took me by surprise. I thought they'd be able to pressure it, but no, they didn't have the minion wave for it.
Over-aggressing for a little bit too much. It's only 22 minutes into the game. Respawn timers aren't that long, and Seraph's teleport a pretty big deal.
He had like 60 HP. Yep. He just backed, sat on the fountain, and TP'd in from the flank.
Kez flash Q'd and was like, I got you, man.
And if there's anything that Seraph's really good at, it's those TP positioning.
Yes.
Which ward he's going to jump to,
yes,
and having his team set him up for it beforehand. Because this is just beautiful. The fact that Kez starts the fight, the communication they're having to continue this engage, they bait them in, and then they flash out. Louis GG still staying alive as they pick up that kill. Really well done there by TDK to get more off that fight when they had actually lost that previous engage.
That's the thing. NME eSports' advantage are slow and arduous. TDK is explosive. You can see right there just the ability to come back into that fight and do whatever they wanted here. And NME eSports, look at that, Dragon number 4. They want to get this away from TDK and get one for themselves. There's the engage, so they go in on towards Kez. That's a pretty tanky champion. Righteous Glory popped, and in goes Kyle. Pops the ulti onto himself, buys a lot of time, and body drop goes down. Trashy's to follow as well, and the poke doesn't do enough. Otter pushes back Seraph, but takes a crossblade to the face. One more attack will do him in. Dragon still on the table. Louis GG gets him with the house from Seraph. That is a 3-for-0 and Dragon to follow. That's number 4. TDK well in the lead.
Seraph just dueling Otter in the backline. Otter had nothing to say in that fight because he was having to deal with that big Gnar who's doing a lot of damage with that challenging smite and all those auto attacks that allow him to keep up.
And so TDK looking really good. We talked about adaptations in the series. Best of 5 to join the North American LCS. You get crushed game 1 by a team fight comp. Pick it yourself. Take the Sejuani to the left up, grab the Sivir Annie first round, or second round, I guess, technically, and take the team fight comp. TDK's fights have been darn good here.
And this is actually extremely important for how pick bans go continuing forward.
Yep.
Because TDK showed they don't care about the Nidalee. They'll give up the Nidalee to Inox if they get the Sejuani. There is no scenario in Champion Select where NME walk away with a Sejuani.
Unless TDK let them do it.
Well, they're always going to take it, from what I've been seeing. They're pretty much going to first pick that every time for Kez. So there's no world where Trashy ends up getting that champion.
And that's just
at least
even more valuable. Like if you find what the champion is, right? You got at least 3 more games coming up here. At least 2 more games coming up.
It would have
here.
to be a contested pick too.
Right. That's
like even if the Jace is left up, Kyle's not going to first pick that.
Nope, he's not.
It has to be something that's very powerful that both people want.
Yes.
And I think it's the Sejuani.
I think it is a Sejuani. I'm just leaving it open for debate because you never know. Sometimes things show up and you're like, oh my god, this champion, you're right. It's just always a thought to keep in mind, but yeah, Sedge definitely a big deal here.
The fact that NME didn't ban it this time around, it's providing a ton of hard engage for TDK.
Yeah, what did they ban instead of it? Because they kept the J Zed ban. I don't remember what their 3rd ban was. But it did not seem to be worth the Sejuani ban getting dropped off.
It was Aurelia.
Aurelia, right. They were afraid of Seraph continuing to carry here, but I mean, he didn't even play it the last time around. I guess they thought Hecarim was the counter pick there, and with Hecarim off the table, they couldn't allow Aurelia to stay up, maybe.
Well, Seraph is still doing Aurelia-like things on Gnar. He's just going straight after Otter, and you can see he's got that tiny little dinky health bar. Gnar's just going to rip right through that cute little thing.
Well, we saw. Seraph gets the more self-sufficient top lane tank.
Look at that. Kez can just soak those spears now. He has the Aegis of Legion, Sightstone, tons of just flat HP to deal with that damage.
And he's buying a Warmog next. That's a Giant Spell Ruby Crystal. This is a very, very durable. And that's the thing is, I remember in the in 2015 we decided that Warmog's going to be the anti-poke item. A lot more health regen on it. When you get out of combat, you just like jettison your health back up. Jettison's the wrong word for that. And Kez is like, yeah, it's a poke team. All they can do is poke. I'll soak those. I'll buy a Warmog. No big deal. Trashy actually locked up for a bit, and it's going to be a whole ton of burst. No passive available. Kez is on a rampage. 4-0-7.
7,000 gold lead now for TDK. They have all the ultimates, except for that Kyle one, to start this next fight. They have to give up this turret, because they're just going to force them off.
There you go. There's the rush on in, and out goes the rest of the team. It's a 5-on-4. What are you going to do about this one? Javelin's still missing. Inox not getting a lot done with this Nidalee here. And TDK can now choose what they want to do with the rest of the map. Of course, Dragon's up at about 4 to 3 minutes here. And that would be Dragon 5 pretty early on in this game. In a lane swap situation, Dragon 1 comes early, which means Dragon 5 comes early. And NME eSports may not be ready to defend that either.
And TDK have been getting those early Dragons with double smites. Yeah, both games.
It's supposed to be a hard lane
strategy too. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like their dual lane ends up bottom in both these games so far. I mean, you don't really need this.
Their dual lane doesn't even have to show up. They just send their top laner in there.
I mean, it's been very good. It's been very impressive play so far. TDK have had strong early games both times. This is the first time their mid game stayed good.
Yeah.
The team fight power of NME eSports is not as strong here. TDK is absolutely amazing.
It's that situation that TDK hasn't been finding too often for themselves, where they aren't completely reliant on Seraph to win them the game.
Yeah. They just need everyone to press R at the same time, and
exactly.
Pretty much good.
But it's working out for them. And they're showing that this is going to be a very interesting series. A lot of people just pegged NME as the favorites to win it very cleanly. TDK are having something to say about that.
They absolutely are. TDK looking very good by the end of the season. They started this series out, the entire season out, I should say, TDK, by getting 2-0'd by NME eSports. That was the beginning of the Challenger Series. Welcome to the Challenger Series, 2 NME eSports. Oh, well, crap. Well, guess what? Looks like they've learned their lesson the last month and a half, and TDK definitely looking quite good here.
They've only dropped 2 games since then, and one of those was a playoff game.
Yep. They lost 2 games to Fusion and 2 games to NME, period. I guess now 3 with game 1 here. But TDK have only ever lost to the top teams in Challenger. They've 2-0'd the rest of their competition. They're making a comeback here in game 2, and what better time to do it? TDK looking for that next team fight win. Ooh, late spell shoot by Luigi G. Half health from Javelins. You can see what the poke power can be from NME eSports. It's just so unreliable right now. It's hard to say this comp has a good chance of winning.
I see the idea behind it, though, because they have point-and-click lockups. The binding
power, they have split push.
If the binding lands, right, you have that siege power, you have the potential, but the hard engage is just something that's going to crush the Nidalee so quickly. Inox, he's at 3 deaths. If he gets another death, he's going to have more deaths in this game than any other game in Challenger.
That's true, man. It's been a rough road for NME eSports. Kez takes a binding and doesn't even notice he took damage. Okay, he noticed a little bit. Something scratched him.
It'll
Whatever.
be his most deathful year Deathful game of the year.
That's true. Oh, what was Inox? A 4-death game. A rare sight for him, but Dragon is now alive. This is number 5 for TDK. The poke of NME eSports is not making much of a dent right now. One hard engage could close the entire game out if TDK can find it.
It's about spear accuracy. I don't even know how much it's going to matter at this point because it's 7k up for TDK. They'd have to be landing on the AD carry and just annihilating them, keeping Otter safe for consistent damage. But TDK, you have to watch where Seraph goes. You have to watch Kez and Kyle, as well as Smoothie's engage. There's just too many people to watch.
Tanks in the front line, block the hard engage, block the stuns, dragging that to 2k. There's a flash engage. Timbers hits 2, Glacial Prison hits 3, and that fight has begun. They've already split up Zack and a Bloblitz. Kez, though, gets traded back and will die. A double kill for Maokai. Seraph locked up the back line, but in goes Otter. He wants more, but he takes the stun from Lissandra, and Flares will get dropped down by Louis GG. Inox 1v1 on Seraph. It is a 2 versus 2 right now, and it's going to be a bind to get the team away. Seraph will stay alive through all this, and Louis GG going to get himself a dragon.
That clean play there by Louis GG at the end for the triple kill, just massacring them when they were all on top of each other.
Well, it's not as bad as you might think. Dragon 5 only counts if you're still alive, just like Baron buff here. So a 2-man Dragon 5 lineup. And they're going to have to spend some time clearing waves away. Louis GG in this side. Looks like Gnar on the top. And we've seen now, by the way, that NME eSports can
Inox
look okay in a 5-on-5.
Inox trying to do some damage control here, getting a turret back for his team. Trying to close that gold gap a little bit. This is just, it looked like it was going to go TDK's in NME's favor, actually. Inox doesn't get caught here, and the engage looks good. Kez is in there, but the follow-up damage, Seraph is bound, he can't get into the fight. Kyle is in the backline and can't get his damage off. This looks like it's going to go NME's way when Flares picks up those kills. But then right here, that ultimate from Kyle, just to get the damage on 3 members, and Louis GG just sending all of his ricochets across them and the boomerang blades to pick up those 3 kills.
Man, I can't believe Buttered didn't die at the start.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys who got stunned, flashed away, barely lived through a Gnar ult. It was a nice snipe by Inox to knock down Kyle.
That's a big part of it too, is they spent a lot of resources to get body dropped and he didn't die.
Yeah. A lot went enemy's way there, and yet it was still a fight that TDK, I think, won overall. They're able to now push up in the top lane here. A lot of turret damage from Louis GG. And Seraph will teleport to hold the mid lane because, by the way, Inox and Otter were trying to do some stuff in this one. Seraph will hold that, but top's getting pushed on in. This is going to be a big risk because TDK going to get a lot done. Seraph is on recall stopping duty. He's doing that quite nicely. Into the inhibitor they go. That's going to be the inhibitor taken. No contest. TDK inside the base.
And we talked about how TDK prey on the mistakes of their enemy shot calling. Right there you see it costs enemy an inhibitor and it cracks the base. So that's really big. That's a really big point of the game right there, because now TDK have so many options.
That option is Baron right now, though. What do they choose? They choose the biggest objective left on the map. NME eSports could choose to contest. They've got to know this is a likely situation, but it's down to 3K already.
2 smites, it's gone.
Seraph doesn't smite, but it doesn't matter. Trashy gets locked up. He does not have a passive in this one. Inox gets exploded. Glacial Prison not required. Goes through his corpse. Louis GG gets binded, but Utter can't do enough damage to do anything meaningful. And it is the kill onto Trashy in the backside. Binded up, not getting jumped on the flash. That's the kill. Louis GG on Sivir is legendary. A double kill for him, and Flares getting chased around by Seraph. Mega Gnar with a Dragon 5 buff, doing plenty of damage to this tank.
As soon as he gets Mini, he's going to just clean him up here.
Minions help. Will he pull? There we go. Gets the ace. Seraph to join the team in the top lane if they want it. Looks like no, they want to recall, power up, and try later after buying some items.
They're not going to get anything off it. They'd have to run all the way to the bottom lane, and there's only 10 seconds left on the majority of enemy. It's still 34 minutes into the game.
Hey man, they could have gone top and killed a Nexus turret. I'm being facetious.
Okay. Well, they'd all have to barrel into it and sacrifice all their lives for it as enemy respawn. Or they could possibly end the game off that. You know, it's a big risk.
That's true.
They're just going to go with the control
You know what?
style.
They're so far ahead, 12K. As long as you play reasonably aggressive, you should win off this Baron buff. I think that's the likely situation. TDK looking to tie up this BO5 and take the Challenger crown to the first trip into the North American LCS from the Challenger Series. TDK right now playing ward control. Smoothie, they're a couple away. Kez hoping to put some down. They'll keep him safe. All the flanks have been spotted. There is no way in. Look at that. Kez, all he did was ward flanks from this bot lane siege. Like, that's all we need. Just as long as they don't get behind us, Slow and Steady wins the race. Blue buff steal, why the heck not? Life is good.
Baron buffed up, minions coming to this bottom lane. Otter's got a clear top. Like we said, the wave clear is so lacking on the enemy squad in this lineup that once they get behind, it's hard to clear it. And now they're going to try to engage. They don't even have Otter there.
You can't really expect to win this fight here, and the Righteous Glory used for basically nothing. Yomi's used by Luigi to get himself back in this one, but that's fine. It's not that important of an active. Ulti is still up for Sivir, level 17 on her.
These spears are just tickling right now. Seraph is one item away from full build, and he's so tanky.
That he is, and here we go. Turrets, though, not very tanky, and this one's going to be knocked down by Seraph and co. Turret number 8, and here comes a hard engage. Now Sivir ulti, 2-man stun comes in on a body drop. That'll be the quick kill on a Morgana. She flashes away. Glacier Prison, it's more. 1 kill picked up. Inox going to make that a second. Otter going to be the third. Everyone in NME eSports is dropping the tanks, the only ones left alive. There's the ace inside the base, and just as fast as game 1 went down, game 2 is going to go to TDK.
TDK showing a lot of life here, drafting themselves in team fight comp and taking it to NME with their own style.
Very well done. 36 minutes in. The scoreline now tied up 1-1. Both these teams know various adaptations have worked, but they can't switch sides anymore. It's going to be blue side yet again for TDK. Game 3, Game 4, maybe even Game 5. These incremental changes going to be very, very important as we go on in this series.
11-0 and 13 for Louis GG. A guy who didn't have the best season. He was actually quite underwhelming. Now, stepping up, doing twice the damage of Otter. It was a very low damage composition. If Inox was not going to land those early spears in team fights, and he's just going to have them flashed away from dodge, it wasn't going to go their way. And like Jat was saying, you don't draft enough options for yourself.
Yeah.
You are not going to walk away with a game when your opponents are playing a very strong team fight comp against you.
Yep. When you lack a bunch of wave clear, it means your fallback pattern of defend and have someone else split push doesn't exist anymore. And if your opponents don't make really bad choices around Baron, you don't get those freeways in either. And Kez, a pretty risk-averse shot caller, did not give any obvious options back on in. There was a team fight that, you know, they unfortunately couldn't quite kill the guys they stunned, and so it became a 3-for-3. But that was the closest I had ever seen NME eSports from having a good team fight their way without, you know, one person getting caught out. Okay, you get a little bit of map control back for it, but the 5-on-5 is so difficult to win. A well-picked comp, a well-piloted comp then at that point. The early game lead for TDK, they never let go of it. They were tenacious in finding these picks. And NME eSports never got to play the siege game.
And the thing here, too, is TDK throughout the regular season and even in playoffs showed that they aren't just a team that knows how to shove a lead and end a game. They can also play from behind.
Yeah, oh, very many times.
They've pretty much been the comeback kings of Challenger. They've been down 7K. Seraph ends the game. They've been down against Fusion before multiple times, having the TP in from Seraph to end the game onto Nian. Like that, they can play from behind. They have good shot calling, and they prey on bad positioning and bad shot calling of the other team. Now, they're going to start preying on bad champion selects. Yeah, looks like it. They're able to capitalize on so many misplays of their opponents. TDK definitely very tenacious. It's going to be a very fun series to watch. We have at least 2 more games left. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. And for now, we're going to throw it over to the guys.